There's no doubt that the timing of this visit is extremely poor. The tension between the US and China has rarely been worse, and then you get this on top of this. So by no stretch does this help the economic backdrop for Asia. I mean, what we're seeing now is, Asia's looking as a result of this like, a somewhat unstable region that people, perhaps from Europe, perhaps from US, are looking at and going, yeah, do we want to be investing here? There's stuff going on. There's a sort of residual worry about, what Kim Jong-un says from time to time, and North Korea as well. The China spat continues to go on. It doesn't help those investment flows. It doesn't help growth in the region. And all of this sort of political ruction, it basically adds cost. I think, as your earlier speaker was saying, it adds costs to doing business in the region, doing business within the region and elsewhere out in the globe, which of course doesn't help the growth outlook.
So essentially what you're saying is going to trigger outflows, whether it's investment or business, out of this region because of the noise we're hearing from this visit.
Well, whether it's outflows or just net inflows diminish, it certainly doesn't improve the situation.
Okay, Rob, considering everything that we are currently seeing right now, because you've got everything that you're mentioning when it does come to this Pelosi visit. You've got the deteriorating situation in Europe on the gas front, Putin weaponizing the gas supplies. Where do you invest then? Because it's not like the US isn't with its own concerns when it comes to the recession prospect.
Yeah, well, I think until this morning, I would have said, well, you pile into US treasuries. And of course, that wouldn't have got you very far, would it? Because right on the back of that, you've got, all the Fed speakers you mentioned, Daly, Mester, Evans coming out and saying, right, we haven't stopped yet. But actually, that story probably does still hold true, but it looks like we have to go through a correction first. The market, you talked about this. This is fascinating to me. The market has just got way ahead of itself. It's pricing in the easing before we've even seen what the recession looks like, the recession that could well be hitting. So really, really interesting. And as for payrolls on Friday, how do you interpret that number? Is a good number a good number? Or, as I would prefer to think, does a good number say, well, this just tells you that the Fed has got that much more work to do because it ain't going to get inflation down just by putting up rates. It has to slow the economy. It'll, in all likelihood, have to push up the unemployment rate and slow down the rate of job creation in order to be able to squeeze the demand side enough to get inflation down. So, yeah, reactions and ructions just likely to continue, I think, for weeks, if not months.